So this is a response video to Marshall Brockway's video on reading, and it's. I hope Marshall can watch this, but a few problems I'm seeing where you're coming from on this. You're thinking that you're going to be more intelligent by reading, and that's really not the case. You're going to become more literate. You're going to know more about books, but you're not going to increase your intelligence. Some things that will make you a better reader, I can tell you right off, is at the end of the book or at the end of your reading period, go back to the words, highlight them, and go back and look them up, and that will expand your diction. But your IQ is not going to change. And the only thing that's going to make you seem more intelligent or live better in life is changing your mindset and finding out the exact solutions to your many little micro problems. That'll actually increase the quality of your life, not reading books, especially fiction books. So there's fiction and nonfiction. And to be honest with you, most fiction is terrible. Maybe 1 in a million books is worth actually reading. The only 2 books I read that were fiction that are any good are 1984 and The Trial, mostly anything by Kafka and some Dostoevsky. And the rest don't really make an impact. And I've read probably hundreds of books. It's generally a waste of time. So that brings me to the other. Well, also, most fiction books have been combed over, and the ones that the establishment and the mainstream want promoted, that's what they promote. So there are probably many good books out there that some of the best books probably ever written are not even accessible or known. If you go on AI and type in, I like this author, what other authors, they're just going to send you back to authors that the mainstream have already been pushing for years and the publishing companies for years. So you're not going to find any hidden gems. So I would suggest read nonfiction, self-help books, stuff that gets into the nitty-gritty. Even philosophy books are not going to help you with your problems. They're just going to give you this broad, over elaborate answers or just thoughts on ethics or life in general, but they're not going to really give you anything concrete to work with. Not the way a YouTube video would or a self-help book would. So if I suggest anything, go into self-help books, and there are a lot of not very helpful ones there either. If you can get a whole bunch for free or cheap, just pick out the parts that help you and skim through it and what applies to you, and then drop it. In terms of excellent nonfiction self-help, there's one book that stands above all the rest. It's How to Be Free in an Unfree World. And it blows every single self-help book out of the water by far. And another one that helped me was King, Magician, Warrior, Lover. And if you audit yourself through the day, you can kind of see what archetype you're behaving under. And that might help a lot because, maybe some guys are they're shadow lover all day, or they're too much warrior and they need more magician. So I would suggest those 2. And the odd one here and there, but take what you can, what you need, and discard it. Another problem with one second here. Okay. So the problem with reading fiction is that the format is not helpful to learning life lessons, and you're always reading between the lines, and you're trying to understand why the what the author's really saying, and it gets you caught up in emotions and characters that you don't care about and subplots, and so that's for entertainment. And if you find that entertaining, then more power to you. But I could give a couple suggestions on how to read fiction. When you're reading, a lot of people say don't write in a book because that ruins it and you're defacing it. Absolutely not true. Write in it as much as you can. Make notes. Underline characters, because a lot of characters, like if you read Tolstoy or Dostoevsky or whatever, or any book, try reading the Iliad or Homer. Yeah, Homer. I mean, the amount of characters is absolutely unbelievable. So underline their name and then put a little jot like, oh, this person was this person's mother, and then you can go back to it. And at the end of each chapter, write a little summary of each chapter so you don't lose the plot. And when you pick it up again, you can kind of go through it, or at any time you can go back and see where you're at and see what you've learned, what you think about it, what your criticisms are of the book. Also, use AI. Use AI as a summary tool. Just go on there and say, hey, tell me about this book and the best passages from it and why it's considered great and what are some of the criticisms. Right there. I mean, it's just like kids on TikTok today. They can't go back and watch every movie we watch through our whole lives and all that. They just watch a little clip of it and they have some of an education. Because how are you going to go back and through all of art and all of history and just start in real time digesting it? You don't have the time. There's too much information now, so you need to condense it. And I don't see anything wrong with that. Also, when you have books around, like he admitted, it's just a big weight on your mind. You feel obliged to read them. They're just like a shoe in your boot, or like a rock in your boot, like something that's annoying you constantly. Read which ones you like, and if you don't like it, get rid of it. Don't keep it around your place as a reminder of your failure to read. Also, don't keep the ones that have actually really helped you to go back for reference. But don't ever expect, someone to say, hey, wow, you read that book? That's so interesting. Can I borrow it? It's never, ever going to happen. And I don't also recommend suggesting books to people because they're going to take offense to it, or you're basically giving them a burden. When else would you ask, hey, spend 5 hours of your free time doing this task for me to please me? So it's either going to insult them or create some kind of obligation to them, for them, and they're going to resent that. And you probably wouldn't want the same thing done to you. So there's no point in having them around, lingering around. If I were to use AI for reading, interrogate it on techniques to remember better and reminders of why you would read. It can help you really get some techniques to make it faster, like maybe even speed reading, although you wouldn't really speed read fiction because you're more trying to enjoy it. But any little thing that bothers you about reading, ask AI as a solution, because it'll for sure have some good answers, and your time is precious and limited. So I hope that helps.